You know, this really gets me. Nothing can aggravate me more than finishing a good steak dinner with nice tater tots than when I come on and see this guy, Jason of the Argonauts or whatever. That's what that stands for. I used to follow this guy back when he had real biblical scripture in the video. Now it's just support me at Patreon, okay? You people are addicted. You have been dumbed down into an oblivion by CGI artists' renderings, conceptions, composites, impressions, and animations. This is what they employ to indoctrinate and program you. And this guy here, all he promotes is UFOs, aliens, loud bangs, asteroids, and climate change, fake hoax of global warming. And now they're trying to, what's going on in China? Exactly what they're going to tell you, and you're going to instantaneously believe it. So whatever's going on in China, you will know because they'll tell you, and you will instantaneously, without pause, with no reason, and no review of logic, you will believe it. And I promise you, within a couple days, someone in my family is going to text or call me and tell me that China is making an artificial sun and an artificial moon satellite that's going to reflect light from the sun to create a moon to provide lighting at night. And fusion, reactor, all garbage, lies. And what do they do with their well-received CGI and animation? This is what they do. This scumbag here, chemtrails. Look at that. That was the sun, people. That's what they want you to believe is the sun with solar flares. They'll tell you what the makeup of the sun is, what the core is, how hot the sun is, how far away it is. And I promise you, you heard it here first, that soon, within the next year, or even sooner, these liars will say they have developed technology so advanced that they can land a ship or some type of craft on the moon with people in it, on the sun, forgive me, that they're going to land a craft on the sun. And not quite as bizarre as I'm saying they're going to send a satellite, which they did, in the total opposite direction of the sun, which is they explain away, we got to rotate with the Earth and then get flung at the sun. You know, centrifugal force and the magic of gravity, stuff we don't feel on the Earth, no centrifugal force, throwing us near the equator, even though they say land and water and the seas are forcing the equator, the bulges at the equator of the Earth to bulge out and for the poles to flatten. So it's an oblate spheroid, not the perfect circular blue marble pictures that Apollo sent back. Nothing near that. They change their lies as often as I've said before as they use the toilet. Now, this is ridiculous. Can you not see that this is all they use is CGI animation? This is not the real sun. We can zoom in on the sun very, very closely. And the only thing we see are sunspots. We don't see these solar flares or eruptions or discharges. I mean, my God, people. I don't know what's going to happen to you. You people are being and have been and willingly accept further dumbing down. We have been dumbed down, indoctrinated, and programmed to instantaneously believe these people because we are taught they are a dozen times smarter than we are, that they have learning And I got people telling me to take a physics class because I say that the Earth has to be a contained environment, or the gas and oxygen would disperse in all directions. Like if I open the window here in one of my rooms, the air would go out, the gas would leave. Okay, I can't keep the warm air in here. If I open the window, it will disperse, it will leave. Okay, pressure cannot. What part don't they understand? Pressure cannot be demonstrated, achieved, or shown to you without a container. I mean, for goodness sake, there's Boyle's gas law, and there's Avogadro's gas law, and there's many other gas laws that prove that gas and oxygen is a gas, it disperses. It does not stay in one place. It goes in all directions, up, down, left, right, vertically, sideways, diagonally, and the only way to capture it, to keep it fixed in one place, is with a container. All right, so their very best rebuttal is describe the container. I don't know what type of container it is or how many walls or the top or the bottom, but I do know that the gas and oxygen of the earth could not stay on the earth without a container. They cannot remain directly next to, surrounded by, or within an infinite vacuum universe. We know what vacuums are, and the puny vacuums we make are nothing compared to what they say the vacuum of outer space is. Okay? Far, far, far greater and void of air. And then they show the CGI garbage of a giant gas ball called the sun burning or changing heat. It's just it gives me a headache. This could not occur in a vacuum. It is ridiculous, the things we believe. And we got duped into it because we all accepted this. We had no idea that these people are against us. They are not trying to promote the growth of the world, but decrease it. They are not your friends. Okay? This is just one vicious cycle that we are all suffering now. And if you can't break out of it and face reality, reality is what can be demonstrated. The truth can always be demonstrated, shown to you. And no matter how many times you do it, the result is always the same. Okay, it does not vary. Okay, it cannot be altered. It can be altered, but the truth is the truth. You understand? You can add variables to whatever experiment you're trying to show. But don't tell me that gas and oxygen can remain fixed above the earth, directly next to and surrounded by an infinite vacuum universe, when I know that makes no sense, because gas and oxygen always fill the available volume, and the volume is the room. The empty room, the available space that gas and oxygen can fill, can go in, like throwing a pair of pants into an empty drawer. Okay, the vacuum of space, or any vacuum, is an empty drawer, and you can put clothes in it. Okay, that's to dumb it down a little, because in that scenario, you have to physically put the clothes in. But in reality, gas and oxygen need no assistance when in the vicinity of a vacuum. They go into that vacuum, and it looks like it is being sucked in, and I feel I have proved that vacuums do suck. You can open a vacuum and stick your hand over the part that's open, and you can feel the inner vacuum sucking the skin on the palm of your hand. And it is not the pressure from outside going through your hand and pushing the skin on the palm of your hand into that vacuum. It's ridiculous. Pressure cannot be demonstrated without a container, a can, a tank, a chamber. And gas and oxygen cannot contain themselves. That's a fact. Everything I've said is a fact. Gas and oxygen fill vacuums. Gas and oxygen cannot contain itself. It must be in a container to be fixed or moved around where you want it. And water, under no circumstances, water and volume cannot curve on its surface. Okay, I was watching a video where they had the world's biggest pool, and I was looking at the pictures, and it is as it is in a cup, a tub, a sink, or smaller pools or ponds. Water always seeks its level on its surface. It's always flat. The only thing that can interrupt that is wind. That creates waves, and current within that water that creates waves. And that's why they say water always seeks and maintains. If it's being blown around, it's seeking its level. If it's calm, then it's maintaining its level. Okay? Water cannot do what they say or how they depict it on the outside surface of a globe. Water cannot do that. The Atlantic and Pacific Oceans are not doing that on the outside surface of a ball. I can't accept that. Now, if somebody could reference me to a valid experiment where they're showing at least even an inch of water on its surface, not at the edges, on its surface, curving and maintaining a curve, a fixed curve, then that would be a very, very, very fundamental thing. That would be direct evidence that water could do that. But water cannot. You can examine water yourself. Fill a cup, a bowl, a tub, and run your hands through the water. It is very unstable. It is not malleable. It cannot be shaped. Water in volume in a tub cannot be shaped on its surface. If you try to pick it up, it'll run through your hands or your fingers. You cannot shape water. I've tried to shape water with electricity, with magnets. I got a ring magnet that's very powerful. And under no circumstances can you curve water on its surface. I've attracted water with static electricity, drizzling out of a faucet, rubbing a balloon against my sweater, and holding that balloon full of a static charge next to a stream of water coming out of the faucet, and I can attract it, but that's it. Do you understand me? All right? And I've also attracted a little water in a bowl, a big bowl, by doing a balloon and holding it over the water. Okay? And I'm not saying the water's curved, but you can see that there's a slight attraction. And if anything like that were going on the Earth, we could directly detect that static charge. Okay? That would be immense electrical charge we could directly detect. We can directly detect electricity per current. And you can see it in thunderbolt form. You can see electricity with a taser. All right? Electricity is real, possessing presence and substance, as is magnetism and magnetic field. These forces are real. They have presence and substance of current and field. I will no longer believe nonsense that can't be demonstrated. I never questioned gravity before. I thought it was a fact. It has to be a fact. I'm standing on the Earth. And that was because in my head, in my subconscious, it's a globe. Okay? And if I'm standing on it, I didn't know I was begging the question. You know? Or like these fools will point up to the sky and say, that's how gas and oxygen can stay on the Earth without a container. That's begging the question. You can't use something that you are saying is a fact to prove what is in question. You understand me? That's begging the question. That is not direct evidence, because when you look up, all you see is the sky. You don't see what they claim is going on. I can say, no, gas and oxygen cannot form any pressure. We force and jam and pack gas into tanks and chambers, and the walls of that tank stop the gas from going anywhere. And we push it and press it all together, and that gives us pressure. The valve at the top has a nodule that goes in there, and that gas presses on it, and that analog little arrow shows us how much pressure there is in that tank. You can't have it without a container. Gravity has never been directly detected. So what is your problem? I'm saying it's fake because it fits the exact definition of non-existent. Anyway, there's millions of people now who aren't going to believe fantastical theory. I don't know what the Earth is. I don't know what its true dimensions are, but I do know that whatever the Earth is, it is built on a level foundation, as every home, every building, every structure, every city must be built on a level foundation. And as the job increases, so does that mandatory fact, level foundation. I do know for a fact that the Earth is not moving. If the Earth were moving faster than a bullet at the equator, I could hover a drone and stick something on the ground under that drone, and there would be deviation, there would be drift. Do you understand me? If a sniper has to take consideration for the Coriolis effect, rotation of the Earth, because if he doesn't formulate the Coriolis effect for a bullet that's only in the air for 2 to 3 seconds, traveling 1,000 miles an hour, that they're saying the target attached to the ground is moving, and that he will miss if he doesn't calculate for that movement. Okay? So if the bullet has to be calculated to hit the target, maybe if the target's here, right there, that black dot, and you got to try to aim for here, because that target is going to move this way to the right. So instead of aiming right at the bullet, the Earth would move the target out of the way and the bullet would miss. So you would aim maybe a half inch to the right so that the target will move into the path of the bullet. That's what they say they got to do. Okay, so why can't I hover a drone over the target the sniper's shooting at and see this effing drift? You can't hover a drone over a target that some sniper's shooting at. That's ridiculous. If it could be done, they'd do it. And then they say that Foucault's pendulum proves something. The ball, the spear is swinging in free space. No, it's not. That's a lie. The ball is attached to a cable that's attached to the roof or to something else that's fixed on the Earth. It is not a separate reference frame at all. Okay, it's not. Now, a drone hovering in the sky would be a second reference frame. You understand me? And that has never demonstrated any moving Earth. You could hover a helicopter or fly it straight in a straight line, and you could demonstrate the rotation of the Earth. You could start in the north and fly the helicopter in a straight line south, and we could see this Coriolis effect, the rotation of the Earth. It's ridiculous. Everything they teach us is fantastical. Water curving, gas not requiring a container, gas making itself its own container, containing itself. And gas and oxygen, one of the worst things they want us to believe is that gas and oxygen won't do what it does on the Earth next to a vacuum. It won't do that up at or beyond the Kármán line where there's an infinite vacuum. It goes into the puny vacuum on Earth where they happen to say gravity's stronger, but where gravity's weaker at the Kármán line and beyond the Kármán line, gas and oxygen pay no mind to the vacuum. They can resist the vacuum, and they can contain themselves. That can't be demonstrated. That's fantastical, and those are lies. So I know the Earth is not covered in 5 layers of anything, any gaseous atmospheres. I know that whatever is above the sky or the air and gas of the Earth is not an infinite vacuum, or we'd have no air and oxygen. It would have all filled an infinite vacuum. Okay? The Earth is contained. It keeps all our gas and oxygen away. And I can admit that what I believe is above the sky is water, because that's what the Bible says me, and that belief is based on faith. I have no empirical fact or evidence to say what is beyond the sky of the earth, but I do know that whatever is above the sky, there has to be a barrier. There has to be, especially if it was an infinite vacuum. It's ridiculous. So get ready for your artist rendering, CGI, and animation of fake suns and sun simulators and moons, fake satellites, and get ready for when they say they make a craft like that with people on it that will shield them from the heat of the sun, and they're going to land on the sun, and they're going to have sunglasses so advanced that they could take pictures, and you're going to believe it because they're going to show you the animation. They're going to show you this. Look, CGI animation. Oh, they had to duck that solar flare or some type of discharge, solar discharge. And there goes the craft, people. Look, they're going to say, people in my family are going to say it's right there. There's the craft going to the sun. It's going to land on the sun. And they've invented material that they can plant a flag on the sun that won't burn. And that's when I'm going to... I mean, you just got to let people be zombies. You want to be a zombie? Go be a zombie. You have my permission. You want to be an idiot and believe things that are thousands of satellites in outer space and all they show is this garbage? People are just beyond belief.